Should you quit your job and start your own business?
That's a big question. I've got an answer.
It's a life changer. Hey everybody, it's Scott Christopher here joining
I'm Nate.
Nate Woodbury. It's his channel. It's his video. I'm just here to sit and listen and prompt with certain questions.
He provides the good looks, the pretty face.
Wait a minute. Because I know the rest of that is somebody's got to provide the brains. It's an old Pet Shop Boys song. We're not going to get into it. It's a great song.
I was complimenting him and he turns it into an insult.
No, I appreciate it, but I know you're lying because I am 51 rockin' years old. Okay. So we're talking about quitting jobs, starting a business. Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Okay. Wow. Thanks for committing.
Yeah, yes and no. There's reasons for it to be a yes, and there's reasons for it to be no.
Of course. I mean, it's a stupid question to ask because there's no cut and dried answer for any.
If you really want to succeed in your business, you want even if you're doing something part-time and you want to quit your job and go full-time into this idea.
It's still yes or no.
If you really want it to succeed, I think the answer has to be a yes. You've got to go full-time for it to really succeed.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But
the security.
There's some risk.
Yeah.
There's some big risk associated with that.
Before you go, why are you specifically answering this question online today?
I love
because normally you talk about YouTube and YouTube
mm-hmm.
channels and how to da. Are we going to get into that at all? Is that where we're headed?
Not YouTube. We can touch on it, but this one is just entrepreneurship because I quit my job and I started a business.
Because you worked for the man, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
This was not your company. It was someone else. You got a paycheck. Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Let's just start with the story and then we'll kind of like dissect it and see what might apply to you. So I had a sales job. Let me even go back right before that. I was an independent contractor for a financial company, so I was kind of independent. I really liked that freedom. I wanted to get a change, and so getting out of the financial world, selling insurance, selling securities and investments.
Selling anything for me is I would have quit before I started, but that's just me.
But I was good at sales, and so I got a job doing telemarketing for an internet marketing company. I was actually really good at it. I made some good money. See, Scott, you're
thick-skinned. You didn't care if everybody in America hated you and other.
Well, here's the thing:
countries.
you're good at sales. You just must not call it sales because to succeed in anything, you have to be good at sales.
I agree. No, you're right.
You convinced your wife to marry you.
Okay, but let's get back to telemarketing.
So I was on the phone, selling website design, selling search engine optimization.
Okay, well.
And I did really well. I actually made a pretty good living at it for a while, but then they started recycling the leads that they were sending to me, the people that I would call. And my income started going down. Well, at the same time that my income was going down because I wasn't making as many sales on the phone, I had been experimenting. I advertised on my local classifieds a website design service. Kind of a side story, I was selling a website through my telemarketing for $2,000. And I would follow up and find out that, a couple months later, they really didn't have much of a website. It really looked lousy. And I'm like, I could create a better website than that. So I kept selling them at my job, but I advertised locally and found a person that wanted to pay $500 for me to design them their website. In fact, I got 2 clients, designed them a website. It was in Joomla. It's kind of like WordPress, but back then Joomla was better. And both my clients were happy. Okay, so now my income at my job was going down because they were recycling leads, and I got behind on my bills. And I came to a moment where I thought, if I go another month with the same income that I have here at my telemarketing job, I'm going to be I'm already behind on my bills. I'm going to be even worse. This thing might work. I tried it, this experiment selling websites on my own. So I took the plunge. I had a plan, I knew, but it was a risk that I took. I went home that day and I told my wife, I just quit my job. I didn't consult with her beforehand. That's kind of that's kind of a flaw that I have. It turned out okay. The company that I started almost 9 years ago now is the same company that I have today. Services have evolved. We don't do website design anymore. But I went on that next month. I sold enough websites to catch up on our bills and well more than some. We went on to sell 20 plus websites every single month, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no. So you would say, yes, in order to really focus on what it is that you're passionate about, that you're doing, if it's on the side.
Here's the reality. In the previous month before quitting, the total earnings that I had made from those clients was $350. Whether I think I might have allowed them to split payments or whatnot. And so $350 had come in that previous month. And that was enough to give me confidence to quit my job.
Man.
So that was a big leap.
You were young then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You probably didn't have kids.
I did.
Oh,
I had one at least.
But
Yeah,
still.
I had two kids. I had two
Wow.
kids.
Man, you had a lot of faith.
But I was kind of pushed out of the job. If I would have been making a lot more money, I probably wouldn't have taken that leap. But because my income at the job was going down, it's like I really didn't feel like I had a better choice. It's like I'm going to be worse off here anyway. I have this idea. There's probably a higher likelihood of that succeeding. So I took the leap, and I'm glad I did.
Well, let me now tie this into what is commonly the theme here as we do these videos, which is being an entrepreneur, but really it's about making money, making a living on using YouTube as your main platform. Mm-hmm. Whether it's from pure AdSense because you have a bajillion people subscribing and watching your videos, or you're able to promote your own business or other revenue streams that we've talked about. The fact is that really a full-time worker who has security and benefits and all those things right now that keep them grounded and happy spouses and family members could still do YouTube. I mean, not to the extent that we're talking about generally, where it really does feel like a full-time job. I mean, if you're putting up enough content, and if you're handling the editorial yourself, for heaven's sakes, you're spending a lot of time. But even if you were anchored still to the man, you could, in fact, without having to quit your full-time job, you could still make supplemental income by if you do it right.
My recommendation for most viewers is actually no. I wouldn't recommend that you quit your job.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Just because you're probably not ready. Now, I didn't know for sure if I was ready, but I had some experience working independently. I knew how to sell, and I had done some tests that had worked, and I thought, well, if I were to dedicate this, 8 hours a day, I could easily, So I had a plan, but I knew what the risk was as well. And so my recommendation is to take steps. Maybe create an emergency fund. That would have been a good thing to have.
A little nest egg.
Create an account of funds that if something goes wrong, you can still survive for a month or two.
Right.
Know how you're going to...
The fact that if you have any sales ability whatsoever, and if that's the job you're thinking of leaving to go into this, and you have a nest egg, so you can sit down with your significant others and map out, we've got 5 months, worst case scenario, this business does nothing for 5 months, we can live off of this. But you add to the fact that you have a skill like sales, you'll always get a job if you're a salesperson. If you know how to sell, it's almost job security, truly. And you have the experience and a resume to back it up.
Well, now... The reality is, I've got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of expertise. People pay me a high dollar amount for what I do. If I were to go get a job, I don't have confidence that I could qualify for any job except for sales.
Right.
Like the stuff that you would put on a resume, it's like...
Yeah, but every company is a sales company. You know what I mean?
So I could easily get a sales job.
Exactly. And you'd be fine. But luckily, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And so that's the point, is just be like Nate and you'll be fine. Maybe that's not the point.
Be like Mike.
Have I taken us down a different path? Is this not where you wanted to go?
This video went perfectly. Everyone there was like, man, this is the most valuable video. They're going to subscribe. They're going to rewind and watch it again.
And they're probably going to quit their jobs tomorrow in search of the almighty YouTube dollar.
We'll find out. Share in the comments below if you've had any experiences or anything like that, whether you say yay or nay. And we'll see you tomorrow.